Hello everyone, this is Miss Salter, and this video is about the reactants, products, and leftovers lab for reaction conversions and limiting reactants topics. So we're starting with this one just to kind of give ourselves a general idea of what some of this terminology means. So far we've been figuring out how many moles, grams, liters, or particles we get of one substance in a reaction when we are given a certain amount of another substance. For example, if we are given a certain mass in grams of nitrogen, we can calculate how much ammonia is produced. But soon we're going to be doing problems given the amounts of two reactants or ingredients and calculating how much product we can make. The hard part in these problems is that one of the reactants is going to run out first, making only a certain amount of product possible, and then there will be an extra amount of the other reactant left over. This idea is hard for some students to understand, so we're going to use this online lab to help us out. So vocabulary you need to know for this topic: a limiting reactant or reagent. That's the first reactant that is used up in a reaction, the first one of our ingredients used up. When it's used up and no more product can form and the reaction stops, this substance limits the amount of product we can make. Excess reactants are other reactants, a one reactant or more than one, that is left over after the reaction stops because the other one got all used up and we can't make any more products. So we have this substance left over. So here on the screen we can see that we have our reactants and products and leftovers, and we're going to start with something that we're all familiar with, which is making sandwiches. So if we need 2 pieces of bread, a piece of cheese, and 2 slices of meat to make a sandwich, the number of sandwiches we make depends on how much of each ingredient we have. At some point, one of the ingredients will run out, and we will stop making sandwiches and have extra ingredients left over. So, part 1 here is the sandwiches. So we're going to click on this. So up here at the top, it tells us that we are looking at we have a certain number of pieces of bread plus a certain number of pieces of cheese equals a sandwich. And that's what we're trying to look for. We're looking for this sandwich over here. We have our 2 reactants, our sandwich, which is our product, and then we have some leftovers. So if we have 2 breads and 1 cheese equal 1 sandwich, that's just like our chemical reaction. So if we have 4 bread, and we're going to move this 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 3 cheese, 2, 3, then how much product is made? We made 2 sandwiches, so we made 2 product. What is the limiting reactant? Our limiting reactant is the bread. Once we run out of bread, okay, 2 slices per sandwich, 2 sandwiches means 4 slices. Once we run out of the bread, then we can no longer have any more product, and our excess reactant is the cheese. We have 1 slice of cheese left. So that's just like part 1A in our worksheet for this lab. If we go to the meat and cheese, which is part C, 2 bread plus 1 meat plus 1 cheese equals 1 sandwich. If we have 5 bread, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 3 meat, 1, 2, 3, and 3 cheese, 1, 2, 3, then you can see how much product is made. 2 sandwiches. What is our limiting reactant? This one is a little tricky. You have to remember that you need 2 slices of bread for each sandwich. So our limiting reactant is actually the bread because we don't have enough to make an entirely new product. Now we're really only seeing this situation here in the lab when we're looking at pieces of bread or pieces of sandwich, and we're looking at atoms of molecules. When we talk about doing these problems in class, we're looking at grams or liters or something like that, and so therefore we can kind of use up portions of it because we're talking about very, very small individual units like a gram and things like that. So for this one, we have one of each of these left over, one meat, one cheese. If we just had one more slice of bread, we could make another sandwich, but we don't, so our limiting reactant here is the bread. And then our excess reactant is the meat and cheese. So one of them is the meat, the other excess reactant is the cheese, and we have one slice of each left. Part 2, we're going into molecules. So depending on what, we'll go down here to this guy and take a look at this. So this one was pretty easy. We have water, we're making water, so we have just molecules here of each one. Now you know we don't normally just deal with a molecule of something, but for our purposes here, we're looking at it as if we are looking at these different atoms of the molecules. If we have 5 hydrogen and we have 3 oxygen, then how much product can we make? We can make 4 molecules of water. We have 1 hydrogen left over, 1 oxygen left over. Now, here again, we're talking about molecules. These are both Hankel-Briffs, so therefore they have to be paired. So the one here that is actually our limiting reagent is going to be our oxygen, because we can't make another oxygen even though we have, oh, I'm sorry, wait a second, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We would have enough hydrogen to make another one, but we can't separate this oxygen. So our limiting reagent here is going to be the oxygen because it doesn't want to be alone. We would have to have another molecule of the oxygen in order to use up these 2 hydrogens. So in this case, our limiting reagent is the oxygen, our excess reagent is the hydrogen, and it's just floating around waiting, and our products are the H2O. Okay, I hope that this explains this. You're supposed to do the game now, and the game is 3 different levels. So first level is they give you the product, and you need to figure out how much of the reactant you are supposed to get. Then the second level, we are given the product. You need to figure out how much, the reactant, and how much product you're going to get, and then what your leftovers are going to be. And then the third level, they got all kinds of different stuff going on here, and you have 2 different products, 2 different reactants, and then a bunch of leftovers. So hopefully work on this, and hopefully this helps you understand why we have things like limiting reagents or reactants and what that means as far as leftovers go. Have a good day.